I am Brewmaster! Ha ha! But seriously, kids, do not drink and play Dota 2. What? You cue card man, not even a little bit.
No, not even.
Not even a little bit. Drinking and playing Dota 2 can impair your judgment. It can make you slower to recognize gigs, it can increase feeding, and you might even wake up next to Tidehunter. Right, Conker?
This has been a .p public service announcement. Hi, this is Cyphus from Defense of the Patients, a Dota 2 podcast. We'd like to thank you guys for listening and hope you've been enjoying the content that we've been providing. If you are, remember to tell a friend, or swing by iTunes and leave us a funny or positive review. We thank you for it in advance, and we're going to read the best ones on the show. This week's Thursday episode will feature Greg Laird, founder of High Ground TV, to talk Dota, and maybe some of his TI experience. New episodes of .p air every Monday and Thursday, and you can always find us at defenseofthepatients.com. Thanks for listening. Hey everybody. Welcome to another episode of Defense of the Patients, a Dota 2 podcast. I'm your host, Cyphus, sitting here with co-host Wazoo.
Hello.
And Roland.
Hey guys, how's it going?
Let's see. You can always hit us up at defenseofthepatients.com. Reach us on Twitter at .p_show. And if you like what you're hearing, swing by iTunes and give us a funny or positive review. I think we're going to read one of those at the end of the episode.
Yeah, I think we are. And we have some more fan mail, I guess you can call it. The digital fan mail.
Yeah, we got a couple of funny things
emails?
to go through, so...
I think they're emails. Yeah.
Oh.
So it's digital. Are you mocking me?
No.
We also have a special guest with us today, Greg Laird, from What Is Hip, or he's at What Is Hip TV on Twitter. You can also find his new casting network. I think that's maybe how the right way to describe it.
I think that's his ID in Dota.
What
or
is
his
Hip
his
TV?
name? What is
Well,
Hip?
what is Hip? I mean, highground.tv is their
is
kind of
his
like
project.
casting.
Yeah.
I don't know if organization or if.
I would say it's an organization.
Yeah. So.
But we have him to come on, so he can explain to us
exactly what they're doing.
So that would be fantastic.
We've had a couple of folks that they've been working with on the show already. Then we've all talked about the Baby Roshan articles that are coming up, and
Yeah. So he's a friend of people we've had on the show before. He's also involved with Join Dota, which is a gigantic Dota organization. Has been around for a while, and is kind of a staple of the community by this point. Rather a cornerstone, I guess, would be the better way to put it.
I think so. I use a website. It's obviously not well known, but it's called DotaVods.com. It's just if I'm wanting to go to sleep and I have my laptop, I don't have to open Dota. I don't have to find a cast or for something like that. I can just watch it through YouTube. It's always Join Dota. It's always with Toby Wan and Capitalist casting, and it's good. It's good stuff. I mean, not always. I shouldn't say always, but the majority. It seems like the great majority they cast.
They put out a lot of content in terms of casts and in terms of material that helps players for, Dota 1 and Dota 2.
And we've had guests. We've had I play with Mally sometimes on Dota 2. He's, I think, the head editor for Join Dota.
oh yeah,
Gorgon is an editor for Join Dota. So we've had a lot of guests that
from the Join Dota team, and they're definitely. I think High Ground's going to be kind of cool because while it sounds like from reading their overall mission statement, they're going to focus on some of the pro meta, but provide basically resources for the community and really focus on the community at large. So I think it'll probably wind up being a really good place for newer players like ourselves or slightly experienced players to go and take a look and see what's going on. Maybe get into a discussion about meta.
Also, I think the flashiest thing that we can tote about Greg Laird right now is that he was a panelist at the TI4.
Oh yeah,
Which for us nerds is just like, dude. Yeah, it's very cool.
I want to what did the floor look like?
Well, and he was
hopefully we'll be there next year.
He was casting the qualifiers too. So
I know he was definitely in the spotlight for the international. So
yeah, that's the first time I saw him doing anything. Well, it sounds like he's involved with so much that you probably enjoyed some type of content that came out of High Ground or Join Dota or something like that. But that's the first time I actually saw him, and the desk that year was really good. I felt like with Shiver and him, it was a really good combo with all those guys.
Yeah, I think everybody agrees that Shiver's entertaining,
Yeah.
and is informative
Insightful.
at the same time.
Yeah.
So it's cool that, like, I don't know, we can kind of get our TI fanboyness out.
Yeah,
this
just
episode.
a little bit. So bear
On
with us.
record.
Yeah.
So I guess state of affairs real quick. Not much update. We long weekend, so we're getting a lot of recordings in, or well, 2 recordings in, kind of back to back. But I'm down 12 points on my MMR from last time, and I only know that because we went up that 13 and then down
And
that 25.
Yep. So I'm down 12 as well, which makes me 88. So I'm 1 MMR higher. This is Roland than I was last time.
Yeah, that's right.
And as for the Grand Wazoo's MMRs, I'm at 2010 on my solo. I've lost
2010.
Yeah,
Oh wow.
one of the best years in existence. 2010. I think that's when Paul Blart Mall Cop came out.
Paul Blart Mall.
Well, that is how you gauge success.
Exactly. And my party matchmaking is 24-25.
Yeah, and
I've been going up in the party, but going down in the solo. I don't want to drop below 2K on the solo, but it's just really hard sometimes.
It is, and
To
sometimes
play
you
alone.
freak yourself out. Like, if I lose this game, I'm gonna be
It's
below
not even
this.
that so much. It's just like you get all sorts of different personalities. It's like when people are with a group, they're bound to act a certain way. But if you have like 5 different personalities of people that don't care, like everyone's acting like, James Dean or something, and they're all hard asses and rude and salty, and it just doesn't work. It doesn't make for a good game ever.
Well, we caught the tail end because we were waiting for you to play a game. So Roland and I were watching Wazoo's last
He was playing
Night
Night
Stalker
Stalker
game, yeah.
He was playing, and it was Night Stalker is dominating. Night Stalker is kicking ass.
But he
And
doesn't scale at
you
all,
guys, Yeah, well, I don't even think it was that. It was your team wasn't working as one unit.
In tandem to push the towers
Yeah,
at all.
they were working for themselves. You know what I mean?
Well, it seemed like that. Yeah, they were all out roaming for kills, and never were they taking advantage of
Yeah.
any power play situation that they
They
had.
didn't care about towers, and it just goes to show that if you have more kills as a team, doesn't necessarily mean you're winning or are going to win.
I don't think that people look at towers as an investment in terms of the amount of resources you'll use in pushing them. So if you are 10 kills ahead and they have all their towers, it's going to cost people, resources, mana, and lives to push those towers out. And that might, by the time you've caught up in terms of towers, even out the kill deficit entirely. So now it's a tied game. When you start looking at towers and taking territory like that, I think it's important. You can be 20 kills ahead sometimes and lose games because you haven't pushed it all. You know what I mean?
Well, it sucks as a support
true.
because most of my financing comes from you guys taking towers.
Yeah.
If you don't take towers, I don't get money. I'm screwed.
Well, it's hard
true.
because there was only one support in that game we were playing, and that's at the 2K level. That's pretty common, as everyone will pick a carry, and then if you pick the one support, you're the one support.
Yeah.
They're just like, we need only one, and you're like,
We need support, and it's like somebody goes 5. and
it's like
no more.
It's like Phantom Assassin, Spectre, Brewmaster, like all like the hardest carries.
Yeah, you have
4,
an
and then like
anti-mage.
you are playing Coddle, and they're just like, go to words now.
Yeah. I know.
It's terrible.
And that's how it is. And that's why Cyphus and I lately, Cyphus and I played a game earlier where we both played supports. Venomancer, you can argue, is maybe not a support, but it is a support.
I'd say he's a utility support for position.
support. And then,
I don't know. You were playing him as a 3 that game, more or less,
but
or
I didn't
maybe
get
a 2.
3 gold. I was playing like a 4, actually. But Venomancer's great mid for zoning out. That's the only reason of putting him mid. Isn't because he's a 3 and I don't even think I got 3 gold. Once I got my mechanism as Venomancer middle, I kind of just we
He's
won
an
the game.
ability-centric hero. I mean, he gets stronger with his abilities. That Poison Nova is pretty wicked in terms of...
It's not the cheapest thing about Venomancer are the Plague Wards. I get my first level, I get Plague Wards, and I make sure I get those maxed out at the soonest level possible, which I believe is level 7 or 8. But if you can just make a wall of those Plague Wards, you have Crystal Maiden, who Cyphus was playing, and I just had unlimited mana, literally. Every 5 seconds there was a new Plague Ward going up, and in some areas they would clump, and we would just win. And we almost had our sub 20-minute win. We won at like 20 minutes and 35 seconds, Cyphus and I.
We could have won faster had that. You know what? I don't. All right, they were a great team. They were doing fine. But what I don't understand is when you're stomping like that, why can't we just end it and move on to the next one.
Yeah. He's like, hold on, I've almost got my rapier.
Yeah,
doesn't it tell you, like, I don't know.
Who cares?
I think the best and worst comes out of people in Dota sometimes because it is a really, really good game, and it's a really immersive game. So, like, people, when they're doing that well, they almost, like, go into control freak god status mode where they're like, I have this person at my disposal, I'm gonna, like, waste their time and, like, prove my dominance over them. Well, you see that a ton.
So
rather than just ending the game when it's possible.
At like 17 and a half minutes, it was 26 or so to 4. And, I mean, we were just utterly stomping them. And Venomancer, Roland, had carved a path. I mean, we had taken the tier 3. So we had cleared out tier 3, and I think by 17 and a half, we had raxed mid.
Yeah.
So it was completely done. All we needed to do was just push mid, wipe their team, and then destroy those tier 4 towers, and it was over. Yeah. We could have just been done. But no.
But Ursa wanted to get a divine rapier.
Yeah.
There was like, let me get a divine rapier. And let's just end this shitty game.
Well, that's when you two don't say anything and just push it out. You know,
no,
let him do it.
We're like, no, don't get a divine rapier. Let's just win this.
We pulled everybody we could over to help us.
We're just like, this game sucks. Like, those aren't fun.
No,
those games are not fun in my opinion.
It was
either.
It was sadistic. I mean, they wanted to torture those poor souls.
I just wanted to, I wanted to be a gentleman and win and say, sorry, maybe the draft was bested. Maybe we were a little more experienced, but we won. Let's get it over with.
Maybe I just pushed your fucking face off. Yeah. You know, I pushed your face in.
Well, them dying to, like, Poison Nova and Plague Wards and dying to Crystal
Which is
Maiden.
it that can't kill you? It's his Venom that can't kill you?
The ult that cannot kill you.
Oh, Poison Nova can't kill you?
Poison Nova will only bring you to 1 health, but anything that's on top of it, like,
if you
obviously is going to kill you. Yeah. It's just...
I was always worried, because I knew that one couldn't, and people panic, and it's like, that guy kill you, you know, but... it's a challenge.
Yeah, I mean, it can be a challenge, playing Venomancer and being against Venomancer, but that's the thing, like, me and Cyphus, and this is probably an argument for another time, I'm just going to bring it up really quickly. We tend to disagree on, or we have differing views on how the heroes kind of work in our minds, whereas Cyphus thinks that balancing your knowledge out throughout heroes is worse than just getting really good with a few, right? Is that basically what you're getting at?
Here, my argument is, I agree with, like, broadening your horizons, but I feel like if you're, especially in our situation, and keep in mind that our situation is unique in that the three of us are able to, because of our schedules, play together with some frequency.
Yeah. Yep.
I feel like we three, and when we have them, 3 Flow and whoever our 5th is, are more benefited by specializing in a role. And by that I mean, like, I'm going to specialize in a 4 to 5 range. You specialize in a 2 to 3 range, and
Can I
Wazoo
take this
in a
real
1 to 2.
fast? Because I had a point I was thinking about on this exact point that I'd like to get up before Greg calls in. You don't really think about Dota as a position-centric game, but it really is. Think about it. Like, you have your off-lane's job is to hold the tower. Your safe lane's job is to just constantly get farm. You have the hardest support with the hardest carry in the lane.
Well, think about it this way.
And
Wazoo and I
mid
is
kind
hockey.
of a play. Yeah, exactly.
Sorry to cut you off.
No.
I'm going to quantify it real quick. Defense. How many defense players did you have? You had a 4 and a 5 in hockey. You had a center, which you would argue is your 1. You'd have a right wing and a left wing.
Well, center might be mid.
Center might be mid, and right wing maybe 1, and left wing
works
maybe
with
2.
Hockey good
like, it works really well with hockey in that everybody.
And your ancient's the goalie, you know?
Yeah.
Or maybe the towers.
Maybe the towers are your goalie. The towers
but that serves that basic in like. But you want to focus on one position. You don't want to be playing goalie in hockey and then the next day being like, I'm going to play right wing, now.
Exactly.
And then I'll switch back to goalie, like, after halftime, Like, and people don't understand, like, you need to stay in your lane. You need to be doing your job. And most importantly, you need to have an objective in your mind
and
of what you're
using
going
that
to do.
analogy, defense do score sometimes in hockey.
Yeah.
But not as often as the center or the right wing or the left
Well,
wing.
and they wouldn't want to because it's about making plays.
And your goalie takes more pucks to the face.
Yeah. Yes. And there you go, the ancient again,
or the towers.
Or sometimes your supports.
Or sometimes your supports can play goalie, which defense kind of does play goalie. I mean, it's actually a pretty good analogy for... And when you're bad at hockey, you don't understand your positions. Like, I remember going in and like, oh, I'm defense, but I still want to chase the puck. And it's like, no, you don't want to chase the puck as a support.
Dota
you want to chase the right wing or the left wing.
Right.
I like this point. Dota is a mirrored experience, just like a sports game. Just how it's exactly the same on both sides of a hockey rink. Dota is more or less the same on both sides.
Well, and
You know, it's a field that's always the same.
that definitely, like, I mean, that gets to my response for you. Is I feel like you're better off specializing in that position, and because of the nature of Dota, you have a
And
lot
in
of
hockey,
heroes.
You were better specialized.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, and in Dota, I think you're better specialized
You buy
too.
pads for the...
You just
Yeah,
You
for the
know.
position.
you just take you just take the range of heroes. You know, and that's why when I'm expanding my hero base, I'm always looking at a new 4 or 5. That's all I'm doing.
I know you are. And it was funny in the in-house when all those 4 or 5s got banned out. You had to take Axe.
That was so dumb.
Oh, that Axe.
Oh man, that was funny.
That was like my third
But
time
my
playing
point
Axe.
being, this is my point.
Ban out like the 3
is
supports.
I feel like if you know the vast pool of heroes, you know how each one works, you know what to avoid when you are playing those 4s and 5s. You've played that one, that
Right.
Faceless Void, so you know that he can backtrack damage maybe, or that he can time lock and stun you. Like you know that that's a possibility because you've played him.
Oh, we got Greg calling in. 1 second. Hey, welcome to Defense of the Patients. Greg Laird. He's at WhatIsHipTV on Twitter, and you're the founder, basically, right, of HighGround.tv.
Yes, one of the 3. Myself, Mott, and Kava Guy are the 3 founders.
Oh, okay.
So I guess we'll just kind of jump right into it. Where did you guys get, or what kind of sparked your inspiration to start High Ground TV?
So it's kind of a funny story. So myself, Mott, and Kava Guy all live pretty close to New York City. And one weekend we met up there to go talk to the guys who were living at the E-Hug house, which is in Brooklyn. And we were on the subway, and we were all kind of like casting for other organizations and like contracting and stuff like that. And we just said, you know, like we should like start something. And you know, we did. I don't know.
And then I got all this success, and then I was invited to the international. I don't know how it happened.
Yeah, honestly, that's kind of how it feels like.
We're really going to fanboy all over the international a little later, but for now, what exactly do you have going on right now, Greg? I think everybody would like to know.
So we're doing a couple things right now. The big tournaments that we're doing right now is the Dota 2 Canada Cup, which is sort of geared toward more amateur tournament with, you know, some teams that you would know if you pay attention to the sort of North American scene. You know, like Sna, Nava US, Complexity is going to be playing in there, Isurus, Shadows of the Past. So if you've been paying attention to the North American scene, it's sort of all the teams that are in that realm play in that tournament. So that's the big thing we're working on right now. Of course, we're also casting NEL, which is the North American In-House League. We kind of just do that as like a way to stay fresh, you know. If we haven't cast for a while, we'll go in and do a couple games of that just for fun.
Oh, yeah.
Are you still doing work with Join Dota at all?
Not as much more. I think we're actually working with Beyond the Summit. Mott and Kano Guy are both doing a lot of like extra casting for them for games we can't cover or time slots that are really, really rough for them. We've been doing stuff for them because, I mean, a lot of them were just out of the house. Obviously, Ben is in Korea. LD just got back today, so they've been running a little short-staffed in the last couple of weeks. So we've been casting for them more than Join Dota, actually.
Oh wow! So Beyond the Summit, that's the tournament that is out of a house. Am I correct there?
Yes.
Where is this house?
It's in California,
Okay.
basically in LA, and it's the home of the Beyond the Summit guys. So Gods, LD, K-Pop-Tosis, Zayuri, and Merlini all live in the house, and they cast out of the house, and then they just had a tournament hosted out of the house, the Summit, a couple of months ago in June. So they'll be having another one of those in the winter as well. So it's pretty neat.
It is really
We've
neat.
tuned into games from that. I think all of us have.
Yeah, I've seen that leather couch so many times in the background with LD sitting on it.
Yeah.
Have you been to the house personally, Greg?
Yeah, we all went out there for the TI4 qualifiers and hung out there for a couple weeks. So it's nice. I don't know. Maybe.
Is it just a giant mansion that just houses Dota fanboys?
Pretty much. I mean, it's like a big house, 3 floors. They've got 2 separate studios in it. You know, they all have their own bedroom. It's pretty nice actually, and it's just the house of Dota. the House of Dota.
That's awesome.
Roland's gonna show up there like a Manson cultist. Just sit on the stoop.
Hey guys,
Take
can I
me.
come in? I'm really good at this, I promise, guys.
So, how was it being a caster at the TI qualifiers?
It was neat. We did a lot of it actually out of the Sayori's bedroom as like the third mini studio, and we also did some games on the main studio and hosting and stuff like that. I don't know, it's really fun. I mean, hanging out with Dota people is always really, really, really fun. So it's nice to spend a couple weeks just kind of hanging out and being nocturnal. For like the Chinese qualifiers, we were up all night. It was crazy for like a week in a row. We were basically nocturnal because all the Chinese qualifiers and all the Southeast Asian qualifiers were obviously in their time, so it was complete opposite of our time. So it's crazy. It's fun though.
Yeah, I believe it. Were there any games that really stood out to you while you were doing the qualifiers?
In the qualifiers, let's see. I do remember one of the last games of the Chinese qualifiers. One of the teams did a Lich Pudge offlane and just like lost miserably, but it was really entertaining. That is the one that I remember the most.
Oh, we'll have to find that.
Yeah, Hooks and Chain Frost. That sounds
Yeah,
cool.
give that a shotgun.
Just play the. He's like hooking the lich out of his chain frost.
That's actually exactly what it felt like watching it. So.
Well, that's very cool. I saw your interview with Cyborg Matt at the International. So is it just pretty much a free environment at the International? Everybody's talking to each other. Everybody's real down to earth, or is it really cliquey?
I would say it's not really cliquey. I mean, this year it was maybe a little bit more because each like organization that was working had like their own little booth. So like there was an English casters booth, so all the English casters kind of hung out in there. But traditionally the cool thing about the International is, I mean, not only the games, but also just being able to hang out with like people that you normally only talk to online. So most people try to be as social as possible and kind of talk to everyone and meet everyone because it's really it's the only time you really get to do that each year.
Yeah. It's become like a Willy Wonka opening his factory type moment every year for us Dota players, even just watching from home. And where I was originally introduced to you was through the analytical desk at the TI. And it was, I'd say, the strongest year on that desk with you four. And I don't know all four's name. I do know you and Shiver now. But it was really well done. It really was engaging stuff. So that was my biggest exposure to you personally. I don't know about Roland and Cyphus.
And I bet it was nerve-wracking. I mean, this was your first time doing this, right?
Yeah, it was my first time being like an analyst on a desk, so that was
I had no idea.
Yeah, he had to pay attention
it was
to his
also
mannerisms
like, I mean,
he was saying. It was... Anyway, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah,
Greg.
I've never worked with James before, so that was really interesting.
Who is James?
He's too good. He was the host who has the very strong British accent.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Oh, okay.
And yeah, he's a character. I mean, it's unbelievable because he has no boundaries at all. So one of the highlights for me at least was at one point there were jokes about dicks, and I was like, this is happening right now. I was like, I just gotta let it happen because if not, I'm just gonna look dumb. So it was unbelievable. But it's similar to casting. It's just a little more, story driven. At least that's how I try to look at it.
Was it a dream come true for you to be sitting out on that desk and like looking at what this game had become in a way?
Absolutely. I mean, I started casting personally a long time ago, 2.5 years ago probably, with one like pretty large break. But just starting casting there in Dota was like, I started with like a $50 tournament or something. And then, now I'm sitting at the desk in an $11 million tournament.
That's so cool, man. Like, and you guys wore it well. Everyone on that desk, I mean, you could tell that you guys were loving being there, but that's the type of people the community wants to watch, is people that are loving to be there, kind of experiencing this big thing happening.
Yeah, that's amazing. I mean, I've been to the two previous TIs that were in the U.S., but being a part of it was, like, completely different. It was crazy.
So is High Ground going to be covering any of the ESL in New York stuff since you guys are so close by?
That's a good question. They haven't. We contacted them. I about it, and they basically said they hadn't made any decisions yet. So, no idea. We'd definitely love to be a part of it, and all three of us are definitely going to be there no matter what. So, whether we'll be working there or making our own content, we don't really know, but we'll definitely be there.
Well, we'll write our local congressman to make sure you are casting at the
Our local
Madison
Dota
Square.
man.
Yeah, our local Dota man. Yeah, I'd love to see a high ground desk. I'd love to see you guys give out content for ESL. It's going to be in Madison Square Garden, if I'm not mistaken.
Which is just huge.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
this is a video game. If anybody didn't realize that we're talking about a video game,
10
we're
episodes
talking
in.
about a video game, you know, and it's going to be in Madison Square Garden.
Yeah, it's huge.
It's amazing. Yeah. It's crazy what has been happening with esports over really the last couple of years. I mean, StarCraft kind of sparked it, and now Dota 2 is kind of taking over, at least in Western civilization. I mean, I know huge StarCraft's
elsewhere,
been huge in
but
Korea for a
Dota
long time.
is-
Yeah, Greg, where do you? Let's get your opinion because I think you're probably a great expert to kind of discuss this. But where do you think esports is kind of headed from here? What do you see happening in North American esports?
That's a good question. I mean, you look at some of the recent things that have sort of happened. You know, Twitch just got purchased by a huge company for $1 billion, which is a pretty, that's a pretty big step in some direction. I'm not sure if it's good or not, but it shows that big companies are sort of taking an interest, and at least in North America, that's sort of like a big, that's like a big problem is that the really huge companies aren't that interested yet, and the problem with that is that obviously the cost of living in the U.S. is much higher, so that's why you see a lot less full-time pro players from the U.S. is because you can't just win like a couple small tournaments and pay your way through the week. So it's definitely a big problem. So hopefully with these big companies coming in, we get more money sort of in the Western scene and more tournaments. And I'd love to see. There really aren't really any like NA lands. There's not like. There was MLG a while ago, but there's no just NA lands, which is something that's definitely missing. So, some things like that happening, and maybe it becomes more popular. I mean, I don't know how much more popular it can get than $11 million, but
Well, and 20 million people.
20 million
Yeah,
people
that's
is
true. More-
staggering.
The interest is there, but
Yeah.
what's always really appealed to me about esports is like there's kind of a grassroots approach, like a cyber techno grassroots approach where everything, content like this, our own content can just spring up, and anyone can just contribute. Like I think esports, and for the Dota 2 scene specifically, is like the new America, man. It really is the land of opportunity.
I think that's the draw, right? I mean, it's like you see someone doing like pro sports or something, and there maybe is some sort of like real physical barrier there for you being able to do that. But you see someone doing esports, you're like, I could probably do something, at least similar to that. Maybe I'm not at that level, and do something to get involved in the community, which I think is like huge for a lot of people, right? Like it makes things like this podcast possible, which I love.
Yeah, it's really cool how inviting everything this scene has been. I mean, we started this podcast kind of on a whim because we talked about, I mean, not even amateur Dota. We talked about like noob Dota, just the three of us, and we're like, why don't we record this and see what the scene thinks of it? And sure enough, we've gotten, we have you on our show, and you were on the panel desk at the International. I mean, it's pretty cool to see how interconnected everything is.
We don't mean to stroke
I mean,
our own feather.
It doesn't take long. Yeah, it doesn't take long to sort of like, I think for me, it's if you produce quality content, it spreads pretty fast. Someone says, have you seen this? It goes on Twitter and Reddit, and it's nice. I don't know. I think especially the NA scene right now is pretty like well connected. We all sort of talk to each other, all the casters and players. We're all friends, so things spread around fast.
So, speaking of quality content, what is High Ground TV? What do you guys have planned for the future? What can we look forward to?
So we just started sort of like a partnership, I guess, with a new website called fountaindive.com, which is basically a website that's geared towards sort of like guides and learning about Dota and quality editorial content. And basically, we started doing a podcast with them, or not? I guess it's not really a podcast, a live show on Wednesdays. So last week it's me, Cabo Guy, Mott, and last week our guest was Korok. So we sort of talked about all the recent roster changes, that's one thing we've been doing, and then we also have another tournament coming up. Hopefully within the next couple of weeks it'll be started up. That's a very significant prize pool, so I'm looking forward to that as well.
Awesome. Where can we go to find out about the upcoming tournaments?
I think the best thing is probably just to follow my Twitter. There's nothing, we haven't announced anything official about it yet, but I think soon, Valentine's soon we'll be able to announce it and stuff. I think we're just sort of dealing with some last minute stuff. So those are the two big things we've been working on right now. And then we're also working on sort of developing a bigger team for our own website. So, we have Brian, page guy, who's working a lot of stats. He's doing his own projects as well that we're trying to sort of help him out with and get off the ground. We also have an editorial team, which is starting up at our own website as well. So we're trying, for us, High Ground is like, it started as just 3 of us, but pretty quickly it's expanded to a lot more people. And we really want to, because, at least in my opinion, the problem with a place like Join Dota is when you think of Join Dota, you think of Toby, right? And I think that's a big problem. So I'm trying to build like a community sort of around High Ground.
We were talking about this just the other day, how among the casters, and I've kind of mentioned this about other games, that there's kind of like a good old boy type community or sensation where there's these people that have been there forever, and therefore people aren't breaking into the upper echelon, and that's something that's just held it's just held.
Well, that's what we're here
100%,
for.
Yeah.
That's what we're here for. I can easily see more people getting into that role of fame that Toby Wan may have.
And I have the mindset that everybody should be casting in a way, or making content, just everybody doing everything and no holds barred, just opportunity.
Well, and let the cream rise to the top.
Yeah, laissez-faire or something.
And it's awesome to see. Oh, go ahead, Greg.
I was going to say, at the end of the day, the barrier to entry is pretty low, so it's really cool for people. It's just so one of the things I wrote a little thing about how to get into casting on the Fountainhead website, and basically the biggest thing is you can't ask people, right? You just do it. The difference between someone who's in the esports scene and someone who's not is someone's making content and someone's not, or someone's doing something. So if you want to get into this space, I think the biggest thing is just jump in head first and go for it. What's the worst that can happen?
Yeah, absolutely. Nobody listens. That's the
What
worst.
if people don't like it? I don't want it.
Well,
people don't like
that's
it.
a risk you have to be willing to take.
Absolutely. Well, Greg, thanks for coming on the show. We'd love to have you back sometime to talk about future things the High Ground's doing, and you, of course, as well. So where can our listeners find you?
You can follow me on Twitter at WhatIsItTV, and then also at HighGroundTV and HighGround.tv, where we sort of post our stuff. And then I think the reliable time slot now is going to be on Wednesdays, somewhere in the vicinity of 7 to 7:30 Eastern Time. We will be having our weekly show on twitch.tv/Fountain5.
Okay, awesome. Well, we appreciate you coming on the show, and definitely hit us up and come back sometime.
We look forward to seeing what you're going to do, Greg. Thanks a lot for coming on.
Thank you so much, Greg.
No problem. Have a great day, guys.
You too, man.
He seems like a great guy.
Yeah.
A lot of cool stuff that he's involved with.
Yeah, I really... it's interesting because he named off Phage, who we've had on the show, and he mentioned other people that we've had, and everyone's definitely connected, and people are really willing to give any kind of hand up in this community and join you in this interconnectedness, which is really dope, man. New America 2014, man. Dota 2.
Yeah, it was really cool to be able to talk to somebody who, not only was at the International, because, I've been to Comic-Con, and I imagine it's an even more beautiful experience than that, maybe.
Well, guess what? People aren't trying to make, tons of money off of you every step you take.
And not only has he been there, but he was, there.
Will be there.
He was, you could hear his voice echo throughout the building. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's really amazing that...
Well, and, what I meant
there,
by...
maybe.
You could see their dream coming to realization, I think, too. You can see it happening to the players. You can see it happening to the casters. You can see it happening to people in the audience that are connected to that. That's the magic that this game is kind of woven throughout, which I feel it, Sometimes I get mad at it, but mad at the magic, man.
So I want to talk about and this is, again, sure, we didn't have a lot of time between last episode and this episode, and we only got one game in as this combo, but our .p combo from last episode, the Maiden Treant.
We played
Tiny,
it.
And we lost.
Because
miserably.
we ran the Tiny in safe lane. There was a
You were with
Razor.
Crystal, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you need mid. The reason you need mid is you need levels and you need gold. As quickly as possible, we need to get Tiny bigger, and we need to get Tiny a tree in his hand.
His level 6, in
AKA
case anyone
an
doesn't
Aghanim's.
know, is called Grow, his ult. And it grows him in size, increases his strength, damage, move speed. It's a really great ult. And yeah, I was getting phased out of the lane top really easily, and that hurt because we had a sniper in the lane. I was thinking the sniper would go mid, but
The second you saw that sniper, you should have rotated.
yeah,
I mean,
guess.
if our team permitted, but yeah,
Yeah.
it was unfortunate to see that.
I think
could have been better.
I feel like some of that was also the team comp overall. I mean, we
Who else
maybe
did
were
we
too
have?
hasty.
What did we have? We had Treant, Crystal, Tiny, obviously, and then the other
Razor.
two,
Razor and
Kunkka,
and Kunkka,
which was a bad pick.
And Kunkka was a bad pick. Kunkka, I mean, we had already picked our 3 heroes, and he picked.
If you had
Kunkka.
someone with a little more speed, like a
He was
Even
landing
a
his
Lycan?
torrents, he was landing his boats, but he still wasn't fed enough. Like, so many heroes on our team needed to be fed. Razor needed to be fed. Tiny needed to be fed. Tiny, arguably the most so.
that guy swung his sword like 3 times in the game, though, man. He was never front lines in it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like at one point, I heard the Kunkka say, "Not enough room to swing a cat in this weather," and I said, "At least you'd be swinging something, man." Because that guy like did not swing his sword like once, and
No, he didn't think he was
the
a
cleave
right clicker.
ability, wave cutter or whatever it's called, it
Yeah.
was really good actually
It
in that
is.
situation we were in. He just wasn't using it as much.
And it sucked. And I just couldn't put enough heals. Everybody was taking so much damage. I usually would like to focus my heals on you, Tiny, so you can dive towers.
I was just too slow of a hero with too low of armor starting out to be going up against 2 range heroes.
I know,
It felt like
and that's why we needed you mid. I mean,
it was a sniper and
Well, he would have been shut out. Had Sniper gone mid, you would have been just as
it would
shut
have been
out
better
there.
though. He would
no,
have been getting.
I would have been okay
equal
because I would have got the
experience.
creep block up to the mountain, and then I just would have absorbed experience at the very least. Like
That's
I
all he
don't
needs.
necessarily need farm. I just need to wait for a good rune to spawn, and I can guarantee kills. If I get a haste, it's pretty much over. If it's their off
with
lane
the
and they're
rock
pushed up,
avalanche or
Yeah.
avalanche, I think is what it's just called.
guaranteed kills. Or I can like 3-point shot someone.
On that Kunkka though, real fast, the most frustrating thing was seeing him full health run back to the fountain every time to reboost his mana.
When
His
we're
mana was
when
low.
we're involved in team fights, it's
And
like your
when
sword's a good
Crystal's in
thing
the
on
game.
Kunkka, man. It really
Yeah.
is.
He ran back for mana, and it's like you have a low mana pool to begin with as Kunkka.
No, it
And-
was disappointing. He was muted too, that player.
What I don't
Forcefully muted.
If you get a lot of harassment reports, they can mute your mic for a certain amount of time. Like you
Oh,
can still play a
really?
normal queue, you just can't talk.
Well, his chat was muted too.
Yeah, I know. They mute everything. You can't.
Holy shit, that's what was happening with him.
That guy got his mouth sewn shut, man.
Can he read what we say?
Yes.
Hear what we say?
He's not deafened. He's
that's
muted.
that's cruel. I didn't know.
I mean,
they
it's
did that.
funny. Well, I mean-
it's a great way to deal with abusive players.
Yeah.
But is it though? It's punishing play. Okay, here's Valve. How does that
If you're
make
gonna
any
get your
sense?
mic back, you better be fucking nice.
Well, okay. They're like, this guy disturbed a game, so we're gonna mute his mic, and then they throw him in more games where he can't communicate, so it disrupts the game. You know?
But he can't. I mean, eventually he'll get his mic back, and he has to learn some patience.
Yeah, I do think it's one of those I think it's one of those
Great or good?
positive punishment situations where it probably is effective.
and it's
I
probably
bet it
gonna work.
works. I bet
Well,
it works.
at least for
You know what I
period of
read?
time.
That Valve psychologists actually set up those reports after for cognitive dissonance.
I guess it's negative punishment. Sorry, I'm
I don't
up in
know.
my head on that.
Just one
It's a
sec.
good punishment.
Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
Those reports that are like, how did Roland do? And I have to rate it. That's for cognitive dissonance. Because if I'm rating you these things, like, was he nice? Was he a good player? Like, stuff like that. Like, I would be thinking about myself in turn and being like, was I nice? Was I a good player?
Oh, really?
You know? And so you would
those
think
don't
about
even
someone
matter?
else filling those out. No, it's to spark something in your mind.
They're smart.
Supposedly.
They're really smart.
For you to be like, someone's going to be doing one of these reports for me, man. Like, and I
Yeah.
wonder what they're saying.
It's
Good or
not-
bad things.
And we've all had that thought.
Yeah.
I've given you guys a couple of ones when you were jerks.
No, I give a three flow some ones all the time. Don't tell him. He probably doesn't listen to the show, but like sometimes when he's like GG at like 12 minutes and 50 seconds into the game when it's 1-0, you're just like, shut up. All
I know,
ones, dude.
We're playing an in-house, was it amateur Dota 2 league.
Yeah.
Okay, we're playing an in-house amateur Dota 2 league, and he's throwing out GGs, and it's turning your whole screen black.
Yeah, because
And
we're
so
the
we have to
private
click.
game.
Yeah, so I'm on his team, and he's throwing out premature GGs, and our coach and everybody on the team is like, "You fucking idiot! No, it's not over. Like, we only lost to tier 1." He's like, "No, like, I used too many tangos from the start. That's probably why we lost." And it's like, okay, dude. So
Oh boy.
we know 3Flow really well. I'm just letting
Yeah,
out
that's
some
why we like
rage,
to give
maybe.
him. That's why we like to give him shit. We need to have
yeah.
him on sometimes so
We
people
should have him on.
people know why he gets the shit against.
And know why I do that impersonation every
Yeah.
time.
No, maybe.
We'll just let him in for like
Maybe
2
on a
minutes.
maybe
Yeah.
on a slow week.
Yeah, maybe on a slow week.
All right, let's play a game. We had a
Okay.
listener suggest guess a hard counter for IO, and I'm definitely down to do it. But
Have we even played against IO or with IO?
I feel like I've played with an IO maybe once or twice, and I've played against an IO maybe a handful of times, maybe.
Yeah. I know what he does.
The
I
mechanics
know
of the
how
hero,
works.
he is hard support as can be. He's pretty much a floating
I
ball of light.
he's a hero I don't fully understand. As far
Tether
as the mechanics.
increases health regen, mana regen, and movement speed when you're tethered, but it has a bad cooldown. So if you tether on someone, you need to stay hooked. If you unhooked, it's like you have to wait a cooldown before you rehook.
I thought any amount you heal IO when you're tethered to somebody will heal the other hero as
I don't know.
well. He's a really elusive hero because I mean he's complicated. But he's so pivotal. Like I've heard people talk about tiny IO mid, where
Right.
they both mid.
This is for my benefit as well. I'm going to just briefly go over his abilities so that
Okay.
we can. So, the Q is tether that you were just describing. Tether yourself to an allied hero, granting both of you bonus movement speed. When you restore health or mana, your target gains 1.5 times the amount.
Okay.
Oh, so it'd be good to for me to pop a clarity and pop a salve and tether to
Yes.
you, and then
He's
we'd both
getting
be
double.
healing.
He's getting 150% of the salve, and you're getting 100%. Obviously.
So then there's spirits, summon 5 particle spirits that dance in a circle around IO, damaging all
damage,
that they
yeah.
hit around you.
yeah.
That's the
They're
thing
really
that you can
hard,
you
though.
can expand or shrink the radius. That,
And then if it hits an enemy,
or would it be a
explodes.
diameter?
It's radius.
Radius.
Radius off of Wisp.
And then overcharge, IO gains bonus attack speed and damage reduction at the cost of draining HP and mana per second. If IO is tethered to an ally, that unit also gains the bonuses. Oh, so that's
So he is
He is
he's
a
a
smart
designed
support.
as a support with a little bit of a built-in defense
And it's
mechanism
old
with
school.
his
and then his
spirit
ult,
dancers.
relocate, teleport yourself and any tethered ally. I didn't know that to any location on the
Yeah.
map. After
But
the spell expires, you and any tethered ally will return to where you teleported
So
from.
this is what Wisp can do. Okay, he's kind of like a helicopter in Vietnam. Like he can drop somebody off in safe area, fly back in, and then be relocated back in, and maybe.
So like a really good
Well,
anchor.
so let me ask you this question. So say I use that relocate, and I get to a low health hero with relocate, and then I tether to him. Will he come back with me
Yes.
after I relocate?
Will he?
So,
Yes.
Yeah,
He
or
will
does he have to
return
have
with
gone
you.
there with me?
No, he will return with you.
So,
So
that's
you can
interesting.
but it's hard to do. That's
Yeah.
why Wisp, and
I
that's
don't
why
know
when
if
people
that's
try
true.
Wisp, that you're not going to be Bruce Willis with Wisp. You're not, or
Bruce
IO.
Wispus.
I will.
Yeah, no, you're not gonna like if IO gets a kill. I think that's only because he has those orbs floating around him. You just gave the name. I don't know the name to it. I can't.
Spirit dancers.
Spirit dancer. Yeah,
Spirits.
flamenco spirit dancers.
Well, yeah, I hope you guys are ready to suffer through like 50 games of me playing IO.
I mean, it shouldn't be much different.
Oh.
He's easy to feed with because he's a squishy ball of light.
Yeah.
he's a ball of photons, dude.
Yeah.
All right, let's guess. I guess so. Let's guess a hard counter to IO.
Chaos Knight.
Whoa. Okay, why?
Because he can bring IO close and smash his light brains out all over.
That's
And then he
Good
can
point.
stun.
okay. Does IO have a big mana? I mean, he's got to have a big mana pool, right?
Relatively.
Like probably a low health. He probably has more mana than he does health. Like toward the end of the
I
game.
mean, he's an int hero as well, so.
I'm gonna say anti-mage probably is gonna squash him, blink onto him, and then mana break him. You know, Wisp is probably gonna be relatively low mana pretty often too.
Maybe, maybe not. He has a high regen.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm gonna go with anti-mage.
I'm gonna go somebody who, I don't know, I was either thinking like an axe or a legion commander that forces the fight, or, but at the same time, I don't know.
Ooh, that's a good point.
Yeah, I think maybe.
I think
But I'm gonna go silencer instead.
because
because everything that Io's going to do is going to require casting, and
That's
so,
like every hero in the game, though.
Yeah.
right. But Io's not going to have any right-click capability.
I want some
whatsoever.
more specificity on why you're picking Silencer.
And Silencer's going to do a ton of damage, ton of rapid-fire damage on Io.
I feel like you're using
When?
broad terms. I feel
When
like
he
you're not being
takes mid
specific
from
enough.
everyone else who needs it.
I feel like you should stick with your first two, because
All right, I'll go.
Silencer's
all right,
a counter
all right.
to everybody if you're going to use that argument.
Well, I mean, it's more.
'Cause I do
He's
lots
more
of
powerful.
damage
No,
because
he's
I
more
make it so
powerful
they
against
can't do
int
anything.
heroes.
That's
He's more
why.
powerful against int
Because I
heroes.
right click him if I kill
And he's
a
going
lot
to
of
absorb.
guys.
He's going to absorb Io's int along the way. He's ultra squishy, and he's going to make.
You
He's
put
gonna
so
reduce
many
Io's-
assumptions into your shit, dude. Like,
I'm just gonna get some tangos and some tranquils, and I'll never get hit.
And then I'm going to carry until
Yeah.
45 minutes into the
Yeah.
game with 60 kills.
Yeah, and I'm just gonna
Pretty
get 60
simple.
kills.
I
Probably
don't think
65, maybe.
any of those comments sound precisely like me.
you're way too
Yeah.
assumptive.
Hey,
Assumptuous.
Presumptuous,
No,
I know.
No,
I
I'm
was-
going
I said that
silencer
was-
because of the int drain. The int
Well,
drain
you
especially.
win because everybody counters.
Oh, well, guess
Everybody's
what?
countered
I
by
win then.
Silencer. Cool. Let's
Maybe,
look it up.
yeah.
Let me go on to, once again, I think it's been a while since we've used this, but I use Defense of the All Pick or DotaEdge.com.
Oh, can I put out a plug too, real quick? While I'm
Sure.
still remembering, it's Lane Picker. It's a English-Russian site, and they have some of the best English translations of Russian material that I've ever read.
Ooh, okay.
What are you talking about? What
It's
is
called Lane Picker. It's a Russian site, and it was all translated to English. And so it's like, Sven Maiden, good combo for all time. And then it's like, Sven is maximum man in battle, yes. But what if given extra regen and mana with Maiden hot girl?
Okay,
It's
so
so awesome.
what was your guess, Wazoo?
My guess was Chaos Knight.
Chaos Knight.
I feel like he's the hardest counter.
Okay, let's see what we've got here. So, there is no Silencer.
Ouch.
There is no Chaos Knight. And there is no Anti-Mage.
We all lose.
This has never happened before.
Oh wait.
But
The show's over.
All right.
We're actually quitting the
Was
show.
Legion on there?
Legion Commander. Let's see. Let's see if Legion or Axe are on here. Legion, no. Axe, no. So, a good counter to IO, according to them, I'll just put out like 4, is Ursa,
Yeah.
Razor,
Okay.
Doom. Doom makes a lot of sense.
Yep.
Doom can just Doom IO and then Doom it blows up, you know,
He's
basically.
out of the fight.
And Night Stalker, Enchantress. A lot of these, and Treant Protector,
That makes sense.
I guess. Like, I don't know.
Well, think about
let's
Tree.
see what
He's
Ursa-
gonna jump in or be thrown in.
50 people have voted that Ursa is a 3.66 out of 5 against IO.
Well, that's not what they voted.
Yes, well, 50 people have voted on a 1 through 5,
Yeah.
the average of that being 3.66.
Interesting.
But yeah, that's weird. We apparently are terrible at this, and I think that partly has to do with us never playing against IO.
Yeah. Maybe.
Anyway,
Well, there
I'm
was
Roland.
that game.
I'm Roland. You can find me at @.p_Roland.
Were we throwing these out already?
Yeah, we're throwing these out.
Wait, one second.
Wait. I want to do the review and our listeners'
Oh, yeah,
email.
okay.
Yeah, we're not quite done.
And I'm gonna find a piece of writing gold on lanepicker.com.
All right, so let's do our review because it was kind of funny.
Yeah, I thought it was a very positive and nice review. So far, everybody's been so positive. Thank you for being so positive all the time.
Let's see. The title was the best. Boots, or Why You Should Listen. These guys have great chemistry with each other and their guests, and the topics are entertaining and good for newer players. Well done, keep it up. That's from Zach Boots.
Zach Boots. People are just loving the Boots thing. Like, that happened so long ago. I
Yeah.
think we perpetuated it, though.
Well, Wazoo and I have for sure.
I
can't
was
help it.
hoping
We can't help it.
in that in-house amateur Dota 2 league to be able to play Nature's Prophet and get no boots. I
You
was
almost
really
had a
hoping.
chance that last game, that third
Yeah, I
game.
picked him, but there was this guy that's like, that's the only hero, like, he's my most played hero, please, man. And I was like, alright, you play
And then
play
who did
Nature's
you end up
Prophet."
playing?
Tinker.
Oh.
And holy shit did I suck.
Okay.
All right, so then our email from Chris Fisher. He's been in contact with us a little bit. He had some words of encouragement for us earlier with the US East server issue that we were having.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if you guys remember that at all. He was talking about, maybe Wazoo, you can explain this, the DDoSing, the denial of service. What was going on with that?
Pretty
Did you
much
hear?
like getting a ton of requests. Some group or whatever, I don't know what you call these idiots, were claiming that they were doing it, and they attacked the PlayStation Network and all these other different things all at once by doing these pretty much mass service requests, and that overloads the servers.
Crazy.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's just like wanting to watch the world burn. You know what I mean? Like, why?
Well,
do you
it's just moronic behavior, probably.
why
Like
do you wanna put us through that, man? You know, like,
it's miserable, man.
Yeah, it
for
is.
all of us Dota 2 players.
It really is. Yeah, we've had some great support. Once again, I know you hear it in the commercial. I know you hear us say it at the start of the episode, but please swing by iTunes and give us a review. We're close to getting rated on iTunes, which is important. And yeah, if you liked it, if you didn't like it, if you hated it, all great reasons to go leave a comment on iTunes. iTunes likes it when you have reviews. So for now,
It just legitimizes us a little bit more.
Cyphus has a little bit more information for us. It looks like. What do you want to talk about, Cyphus?
I'm sorry, I was trying to find
Yeah,
that. I was trying to find that email, and I must have done something with it. I must have.
Well, Chris Fisher,
relocated it.
you're a great guy. What you said was awesome.
The reason I was going to read it anyway was he had an interesting argument for the force staff, which we've kind of gotten into. And
one that agreed with you. I
yeah,
think, and that's why he
no,
won.
no, he didn't agree with me. No,
It was for the force staff,
Yeah, it
not
was-
the blink dagger.
yeah, and it was an interesting argument. I'll try to find that before the
Well,
next
we'll
time.
grab
But
it for the next Monday show.
yeah, he made me kind of rethink because I started writing that Defend Your Dota dissertation for the blink dagger over the force staff. And he kind of
Have
he
you
got me
written
thinking.
it yet?
I got about halfway through, and then I went back to look at his email because I was saying something that reminded me of something he had said, and then I ended up
Halfway through,
holding it.
So
like,
you never wrote the
I'm not done
Yeah,
yet.
you never wrote the
you're
article.
I'm
supposed
putting
to
some
have that
tender
up.
love and care into it,
That's
okay?
ridiculous.
Which means you haven't even
It's 'cause
started.
you don't. Yeah, it's because you have no argument.
You haven't even started.
Yeah, you have
No,
no
I'm not that bad. I do have a little
Two
bit.
sentences. I like the blink dagger because.
The blink dagger is good because it costs more. No, wait, it doesn't. It costs less than the force staff.
Yeah, it does cost less.
No, it doesn't.
All right.
Yeah,
Does
it's
it?
$21.50 to $23.50.
Yeah, it's pretty close.
almost-
Force staff has more general applicability, though.
Sure.
Sure.
We're gonna-
And you can always use it even when things are chasing you down, killing you 20 times in one
yeah,
game.
sure. And there's another argument that at least I could be spending my gold along the way. And
Exactly.
I'm a squishy support, so
Exactly.
that makes it.
But you're never
definitely
going
a
to
good
die,
case.
right? Because you have
No,
And
I
that's
don't know.
another
They're never
great
gonna be
balance
turned
with
off.
blink dagger if you think about it. You do need to hold on to all that gold until you
Yeah,
get it.
it really is.
It's not easy to do as a supporter.
Same with Midas. Like, you've
No.
got to be doing good. Like, you have to hold on to 1,550 gold early on, because I don't think you're buying Midas later game.
It always sucks
I'm
when you're
never
a jungle
buying Midas.
hero and you forget that they have a Bloodseeker on their team, and you're just way low, and you just look up and you see Bloodseeker there, and you're like, fuck, and then he runs into the jungle, stabs you in the neck.
All right. Well, I guess we'll close now. So thanks to Chris Fisher for sending that email. Thanks to Greg Laird for coming on and joining us today from highground.tv. He's also on Twitter at WhatIsHipTV, or you can follow High Ground at HighGroundTV on Twitter as well. You can always find us on Twitter at @p_show. Each of us individually, I'm at @p_Cyphus.
I'm at .p_Wazoo.
And
I'm at .p_Roland.
And then, of course, our website, defenseofthepatients.com. Defenseofthepatients@gmail.com is our email. And always swing by iTunes and give us that funny or positive review.
Thanks for tuning in, guys.
Yeah, until next time, this has been Defense of the Patients.